Hi, so I'm back. So I've just done all the sewing. I've sewn those two pieces at the top there and at the bottom. And then on this side, which is the back cover, I've got the tea stained fabric, the piece of hessian, my clock in my hot air balloon. And then I decided to sew these two pieces of Stampin' Up ribbon here, just because they tie in with the hot air balloon, and I just wanted to soften that a little bit. So what we do now is we flip this over, just making sure I had it right then. An awful feeling I had it wrong. So flip it over like that. Take our pieces and we put them onto our fabric. Now if you're using paper, you either have to obviously find a piece of paper that is exactly the right size, or join some together. And if you join it together, try and join it in the spine so that you can, so you can decorate the spine so that you don't see the join. However, if you do it on the back cover, you could then do what I've done and put a design on the back as well. So I think that's about right. Okay, so I use Anita's tacky glue. Okay, this stuff is amazing, and I just go around the outside like so. A little bit in the middle, and then just a damp paintbrush just to blend that in, just so you don't get your squiggle lines, although you won't see it because we've got bits going over the top, haven't we? So I'm not going to worry too much. Okay, so we're going to turn that over and we're going to pop it down. Nice firm press, and go onto our spine. Is that straight? Make sure it's straight. After all the work I've done on the front, if it then wasn't straight, I think I might cry. Right, then the spine, again, just can use double-sided tape here. If you get the really strong stuff, that would work. I tend not to, just because I like the wet glue. It gives me a few seconds wiggle room if I need it. Or if it goes drastically wrong, I can pull it up and still save the piece of fabric. Otherwise, if you use tape, you're in a bit of a pickle. So I would normally, as you saw on the first, use just a paintbrush, just a damp paintbrush, just to spread that out. But because we've got bits going on the back cover, that's not necessary, because you won't see the squiggles. Let's press that down. Okie dokie. We're going to miter the corners, so let's just get some of this stuff out of the way. We're going to take some of this excess off the corners, because otherwise when you fold it, and you fold it this way, you have an awful lot of excess fabric there. So I just take off the corner, okay? So I'm very cat-handed, so I'm sorry if you can't really see what I'm doing. Okay, so before we do that, let's just make sure everything looks how it should. Right then, so what we're going to do, when you start doing your covers, you're going to need some clips. This isn't necessary, but I've found that it really helps with keeping everything secure. Okay, so we're going to bead of glue there, bead of glue across that one and across the middle, and then we're also going to stick some glue on the fabric as well. And then just at that joint, especially this bit here, the spine, it gets an awful lot of abuse. So we're going to pull that down. Now this Anita's glue is pretty good and takes hold almost immediately. That's one reason why I love it so much. I just use some clips just to be on the safe side. These random strings. Okay, so that's the top done. Okay, we spin it round. Do exactly the same for the bottom. I'll try and do this a bit quicker. Okay, so that's done. Then we're going to do the sides. And we do it all together so that it can dry just while we choose the papers to go on the inside. Okay. Losing bits off my desk here. So how is everybody? What's it like where you are at the moment? It's very warm here in Gloucester, very muggy, and it's supposed to change again, but we're not sure when. Okay, just take that one off. Okay. So there we go. One cover with the reinforced ends. Okay, so that's ready then to be binded. Okay. Fab. So we're going to just leave that to dry whilst we choose our middle, our inside cover. So, options. I'm going to have a flick through these. Just dropping everything. Excuse me for 1 second. Okay, so we're going to have a quick look through these ones just to see what would look really good in the front. Sorry, it's not the front, it's the inside cover, isn't it? So we're not going to see too much of it. And to be honest, these 3 pieces I wanted or already earmarked for the actual signatures, so I'm going to leave those. I've got some Tim Holtz here as well. See, all of these wonderful pieces you can use there we go. That was a very good decision made for me. Can't really use much of the back, so I'll use the back cover because I've got this beautiful design here. Beautiful design. So what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly measure the size that we need. So I've got my metal ruler here. So we could do with a piece of paper 8, because I want to see some of the fabric. So we're going to do it 8 inches deep, and it's a full, no it's not, is it? I'm not going to have enough. Right, I shall cut it in half and then I shall use half of it from the bottom, do the spine. So I'll show you quickly how to do that, because that's quite not complicated. It's not complicated at all. Let's just bring in my cutting mat. But if you've never joined anything together, you might want to know how to do it. So these boards are brilliant. They're quite pricey. I'm not sure where I got this one from. I think this was gifted to me. They're quite pricey, but they're worth it because you can get really good, accurate cutting with these. Really good, accurate cutting with these. So I said 8 inches, didn't I? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to cut it on the 3. 3 to 3. Fab. And if you can get yourself a metal ruler and a knife, it just makes it so much easier. I have got a cutting machine, but I don't like it because it frays the edges, and it makes the edges look really, really not very neat at all. So I prefer this. So let's just cut this in the centre. That moved then, but it's not going to matter because we need a piece for the centre anyway. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to cut this piece here at 2 inches wide, because we know that's how wide our spine is. And then we want it 8 inches long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now if your cutting skills are very good, then use cutting. Use a pair of scissors. Mine are rubbish, so I'm not even going to try. Okie dokie, so that's our inside cover. Ready to go. I'll take this board away. And then there's our cover there. Okay, clips can come off now. Take all those off. Okay. So I'm thinking that one. I don't like the way that's worked out. Gonna have to trim some of that off. That'll drive me absolutely bonkers. See, I told you this project was going to be warts and all, didn't I? This video was going to be warts and all. Now I should be able to neaten that up. Hey, it's rustic charm, that's what we'll call this. I didn't take enough off, did I, when I cut the fabric? See, with this Anita's glue, you've still got time, even though I've pegged it down, you've still got a bit of time just to sort those corners out. Right, so these are going to go there, and just make sure they're equal, both sides, top and bottom, sorry. That goes there. And then that one in the centre. Okay. Now, before we stick this down, we need to work out our closure because we want it neat and hidden. Now, because I'm using this ribbon as my binding, I want to use it as my closure as well. And I've got quite a lot. So I'm going to cut off about that much. Very technical. Very technical. I think as long as they're the same length, I don't think it really matters. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put these. Sorry, I dropped the other piece. We're going to put these on. And how I do this is I take my ruler and I mark in the centre roughly where I want them to go, because if they're not level, when you come to glue them on, sorry, when you come to tie the journal, it doesn't tie properly, it doesn't work. So I've got some double-sided tape here. I think the Americans call this score tape. So I've got some score tape here. Just pop that in the centre. Now remember that the inside paper keeps the ribbon secure as well, so don't have to fret too much. Saying that, I do like to put a dollop of glue there as well. So we're going to pop that on. Like so. And then we're just going to measure how much I've got on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. So I've got that much. Okay, so then I can come over to this side. And make sure I've got the same. Just on that side there. Okay. Wipe away my excess glue. And there we go. There's our inside ribbons put on. Okay. Now we want to stick the inside papers down. Now I think I am going to trim these a little. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. I'm going to pop it on my mat. Let's take off 1/8, okay. Okay. as that one. Again, we're going to take off just 1/8 of an inch. There we go. So now that's done, I'm going to stick this down. Okay, so now Anita's glue is brilliant on cardboard. It's great on fabrics. It's great on pretty much any of your crafting things that you do. So it's really good. So you don't have to keep swapping between different products. It's good to find one that actually does everything. Okay. Ah, that's a better fit, isn't it? So let's pop that down. Make sure it's really secure over that ribbon. And we're going to pop a clip on that as well, just to hold that down. For the spine. You won't see this spine actually, you won't see much of it, but I like to know that it's done and it's there. In my head I know then that it's nice and neat and it all looks the same. Okay, and then we do our back cover. Okay, so we just glue that down. Again, measure it with the other two and with the cover and just eyeball it. Just going to clip it down. Now I've noticed that this one, maybe I should have done this one first, but this one is a bit skew-iff with the back cover as well. I want it the same either side, so I'm going to have to just take that one up and replace it, because although you won't be able to see it, I know that it's not right. And it will drive me mad. Is that roughly the same? Yeah, perfect. Right. So I'm glad I did that now. So let's just pop that back on there, just to hold that down.